we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Hey everyone, it's Snake with the 1994 Candle Co. Usually I make videos all about making candles and starting a candle business, but today we're actually going to be making some foaming hand soap with the natural liquid soap base from 1617, which I am really excited about. If you guys didn't see my previous video from it's honestly maybe been a couple months ago now, where I, unboxed the soap base along with lots of other things or whatever. I'll put it at the end of this video. It's not super important that you need to watch that before you watch this one or anything like that. But if you're interested, I will put it at the very end of this video, like usual. But if you don't know much about this soap base, it is like it says, natural liquid soap base. You can use it for making hand soap, body wash, foaming hand soap like we're going to be doing today. I believe you can even make it into like some sort of laundry detergent, I thought I saw on their website somewhere. Could be totally wrong. Maybe don't quote me on that one. But yeah, you can make basically anything that has soap in it. You can probably find some kind of recipe to make with this soap base and stuff. And so I'm really excited to test it out and see all the different ways that you can use it. I'm also really excited because they say on their website that you can use mica powder in it to color it and stuff like that if you want to. I am going to try one with and one without, so we'll be making two different hand soaps today. But I have had these mica powders for a while now, and I've been meaning to use them to make a video about with wax melts and stuff too, but I just haven't gotten around to that one either yet. I know, I have tons of ideas, lots of things going on. But anyway, so we're going to be using some mica powder as well in at least one of these soaps today, just to kind of see how it does, what it looks like and all that with mica powder in it. So I'm really excited to test that out as well. But we're going to be heading right back over here to the table and let's get started. So for this, you guys are going to need obviously a foaming soap bottle like this, and as well as one of these type of lids that actually are for the foaming part of the soap. It's what makes the soap actually foam and stuff like that, rather than just coming out like regular watery soap. And then obviously you're going to need your fragrance. Today I am in a very fall mood, so we're going to be making some apple cider donut soap, at least with this first one. You do need to check and make sure that your fragrance is safe for soap use. And I did obviously check with this one, but you need to make sure it's at least safe up to like 3 to 5% probably. The base does hold 5%, so I definitely wouldn't go above that or anything like that. But this is safe up to 9%. But like I said, the base only holds about 5% fragrance, so I wouldn't go above that. And then also you're going to need some distilled water. It does need to be distilled water. You can't just use like water from your tap or anything like that. It does need to be distilled water just because it's cleaner, and I think it helps with like the way it binds and all that stuff. Plus, if you're going to be selling this, you absolutely want to use distilled water because it's the cleanest type of water. You are going to want a preservative if you're making the foaming hand soap, just because you are adding water to it. And so their recipe on the site says that they use Optiphen Plus, which is what I already have on hand, so it worked out for me. But you can use really any kind of preservative. You're only going to be using about 1% though. But the preservative will just keep it, because you are adding water, it'll just keep it from getting moldy or anything like that. We are making an 8-ounce soap, and so like I said, I'm following the recipe directly from their website. I will put a little link down in the description box below to where you can find it. It's just on the page where you go to find the little bottles for the foaming hand soap or whatever. They put the recipe down in the bottom, but I will put it down in the description box below as well. But first you're going to start with 6.4 ounces of distilled water. I got just a tad bit too much. Okay, I got like 6.42 ounces, which is close enough. Then we're just going to pour that right in here. Try not to spill it. As you can see, most foaming hand soaps are mostly water, which is really the case pretty much anywhere you get it. It's mostly distilled water. All right, so the recipe is 6.4 ounces of water and then 1.6 ounces of the soap base. I'm gonna go ahead and tear this. I know you guys can't really see the numbers because of the reflection, I'm sorry, but just trust me, I know what I'm doing. The super nice thing about these bottles is these little tops that come with it make it super easy to just pour in just like this. Perfect. And then next up, I'm going to be adding the preservative. Because we are using such a small amount, I am using a little pipette dropper just because I'm afraid I would pour too much in. We're only going to use 0.08 ounces of preservative. It's kind of cool the way the bubbles drop in. And then before we add fragrance, I do want to just go ahead and give it a good shake. So I'm going to put the cap on and kind of shake it up a little bit just to make sure that the preservative, the soap, and the water are all kind of combined and stuff before I add the fragrance in. Something I do want to point out that's really important, I feel like, for this recipe is that they say on the website that they recommend calculating your fragrance load based on the amount of the actual soap base that you use. So rather than the weight of the total recipe. So for example, since we're making the weight overall is going to be 8 ounces, but the amount of actual soap that we used was only 1.6 ounces. So for a 3% fragrance load, that would only be 0.04 ounces of fragrance. So again, because we're using such a small amount, I'm going to be using a pipette dropper just to drop the fragrance in. And again, you can use up to 5% fragrance. So I'm gonna start with 3% and just see how that is or whatever, just because especially this fragrance oil, it is kind of a stronger fragrance oil. So I'm not too worried about it not having a scent or whatever. So I'm just going to use 3% for this recipe, and then I might use 5 for the next one. But then once you've added in your fragrance, you can go ahead and put the cap back on and then just give it a good shake again just to make sure that it is all mixed in really well. I would say you definitely want to shake it for probably a good minute or so just to make sure that it's really combined well. I do want to point out that at least right after shaking, it does definitely kind of begin to get a little cloudy in there. I think that's pretty normal. And honestly, it might just be from shaking it. It looks like it might clear up or whatever after a couple minutes. I'll let you guys know for sure. And another thing is to note that on their website, they do say that certain fragrances will cause it to discolor. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Real fast, before we get to this next part, if you guys are finding some value in this video, it would mean so much to me if you'd give this video a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel so that we can keep hanging out. Okay, now that we have one done, I am just going to go ahead and quickly make the other one. This one I will be adding mica powder and stuff to it, but I'm probably going to speed through the process and then just show you the mica powder, etc.
You and I, we got it. We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon.
So for this soap, I did use Cashmere Plum. So I was thinking for the mica powder, I would use this this color. It's called Heliotrope. I hope I'm saying that right. But it's just like a nice, like shimmery kind of purplish pinkish color, and I feel like it goes well with the scent Cashmere Plum. All of the mica powders that I have currently, I did get from Mad Micas. They are ethically sourced and all that. So if you are getting mica powder, I would just make sure that you're getting it from somewhere that is ethically sourcing it and everything like that. Yeah, for obvious reasons. So I am using a spoon. Don't worry, we don't use a spoon to eat or anything like that. It purely is for getting wicks out of the bottom of candles sometimes. But I am using like literally, I'm going to try and use like the smallest amount because I just know that you don't need a lot of these from what I've heard from most people. Okay, I lost all of it. So, and literally that might even be too much, honestly. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try it out and see what happens. I wish I could actually dip the spoon in there, but that's not going to happen. Oh, you can already kind of see it falling and like discoloring and stuff, so that's super cool. Okay, I don't know how well you guys can see it on camera, but oh my gosh, this looks super cool. It's like very shimmery inside, so which is exactly what mica powder does, but it just is super cool. I've never actually used it. I've only seen it in videos, so it's super cool to actually see it in person. I do feel like I probably could have used even like a little bit less and this still would have been fine. But I don't think it's like too bad or anything. I didn't use like way too much or anything, but you probably could get away with even a little bit less. Like you really don't need very much at all to get this really cool shimmering effect. I am interested to see one, like, is it going to make my hands purple or anything like that? And two, is it going to make my hands look kind of glittery or anything like that? Because obviously, like, I'm a guy, so I just really don't want that or whatever. But, you know, other people might be interested in that stuff. But if it does, I probably wouldn't use mica powder in my formula and stuff like that. But I guess we will see.
No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
So it has now been a full 24 hours since I made the soaps, and so I kind of wanted to show you guys what they look like now. So unfortunately the mica powder did all settle at the bottom like I kind of expected that it probably would. So, ooh, yep, just flipped soap all over my face. It's fine. Initially I thought that this one was drying my hands out a bit more, but after like waiting a bit and stuff like that, I think realistically it was just because I washed my hands like probably 5 or 6 times in a row, like super quickly, 1 for the video and 2 just because I was excited to test these out. So I wouldn't say that this one, like after using it today and stuff, I didn't really notice it drying out my hands as much or anything like that. Something to keep in mind too is just that I have personally like super sensitive skin. I think it was just the, you know, washing my hands too many times all in a row or whatever and stuff, because I've been using them both today and haven't had any issues. I haven't like washed my hands back to back and stuff. I kind of like, you know, washed them more naturally as I needed to and stuff like that or whatever, like you would, you know, in your day-to-day life and everything. And so yeah, they didn't get as dried out and stuff like that today. And this one I did want to show you, it does clear up. I know initially yesterday it was kind of it was pretty cloudy and stuff. Pretty much every time you shake it or anything like that, it does kind of get cloudy again or whatever. I'm not sure if that's the fragrance oil or because of, you know, the other stuff in it or whatever. It's not separating. I know it kind of looks like it might look like it is or whatever. I think it's just the way that the soap bubbles at the top or whatever and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's not like an actual like oil separation or anything like that. It's just bubbles at the top, in case you're wondering. The other thing I really wanted to point out is, honestly, I would stick with 3% fragrance oil if you're going to use fragrance oil in your soap. Obviously, I would think that you probably are. I would stick with 3% because it does definitely get stronger over 24 hours. I don't know if it'll get any stronger after that or whatever, but this one is definitely much stronger today than it was yesterday. Yesterday, I could definitely smell it, but it was like barely there. And now it's definitely strong enough. I can smell it. It lasts on my hands for probably at least an hour or two after washing my hands. Like, honestly, it lasts a good long while after washing my hands and stuff. And the Cashmere Plum one, the one that I used 5% fragrance oil, is probably maybe a little bit too strong. And that's coming from me, who likes really strong scents. It's, you know, like, it definitely lasts on your hands for quite a while. I don't mind it because I like the scent, and so it doesn't bother me or anything, but just something to think about. Also, another thing that I was glad about, though, I probably won't, if I do end up using these, and, you know, if I end up making foamy hand soaps for my business, I probably won't be using mica powder in them, just because it does all settle at the bottom. And, you know, that's just not a great look or whatever, to constantly have to, like, go around, shake them up and stuff just so they look like this. And, you know, then, you know, your customers, as they're sitting at home and stuff, like, they're not going to want to constantly shake up their bottles and everything. So I probably wouldn't use mica powder. But one thing to note that I did want to point out, if you do use mica powder or whatever in your soaps, it does not, like, thankfully it didn't leave like a glittery look on my hands or anything like that. I was slightly worried about that, but thankfully I didn't notice it like leave any kind of like glittery look on my hands or anything like that. And it definitely didn't like turn my hands purple or anything like that, in case you're wondering, like, is this, you know, okay to use on skin and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't have any issues with that or anything like that. So in case you are wanting to get this kind of shimmery look or whatever, you don't have to worry about that. As long as, I mean, I don't, you know, I only used a very tiny amount or whatever in here. So as long as you don't use too much, I think you should be fine. I do really love this swirly look, though, that it has whenever it kind of looks like a snow globe almost or whatever. But yeah, it's super cool. I just wish it didn't all settle at the bottom or whatever whenever it's like not being moved or shaken or whatever. I will say, if you're using just the regular hand soap without making like it a foaming hand soap, if you're just using the regular hand soap, all you need to do is add fragrance oil. And so if you're using that, I think that possibly the mica powder would not all sink to the bottom. I think you could like stir it around in there, and I feel like it would probably not all sink to the bottom, just because it is a heavier, thicker base, obviously, like whenever you're not adding a bunch of water to it. And so I think that potentially, like I said, I don't know for sure, I haven't tried it out, but if you are just using the base with the fragrance oil or whatever, you could possibly add mica, and it probably wouldn't all sink to the bottom. Again, you might want to reach out to 1617, because they did say on their website that they did use mica powder to color their soap base and everything when they were testing out colorants and stuff like that. So you might want to reach out to them and just ask them for sure, you know, does this all sink to the bottom, or, you know, does it stay consistent throughout and everything like that? And just ask them if you're wanting to use mica powder and kind of get that kind of cool shimmery look to your soap. But that is going to be it for today's video. As always, I will leave links to all the things I used in today's video down in the description box below. Some of them are affiliate links, and it does help out my channel at no extra cost to you. So basically how affiliate links work is basically whenever you click on them or purchase something through them, then I get a small commission. It doesn't cost you any extra or anything like that. So it does really help me continue to provide provide knowledge and stuff like that, and continue to make videos and stuff like that for you guys. So if you guys want to help continue supporting my channel, you can just use those links down in the description box below, and I seriously so appreciate it. Seriously, it means the absolute world to me. But if you guys would like to continue hanging out, there are going to be some other videos that pop up on the screen, and I will see you there.